Okay guys, we are going to be tying the Screaming Banshee today. First, we are going to start right behind the eye of the hook, about an eye length back, and wrap our thread all the way down to just below the bend, and then we're going to wrap all the way back up to where we started the thread. So just about a hook eye back. We're going to flatten our thread as much as we can. You can spin that counterclockwise, or I use the back of my whip finish tool here to help me flatten it. Then we are going to tie in our first clump of elk hair. I'm using brown. We're actually going to wrap around the hair once, place it where we want it, and then 2 wraps, and then pull up. Don't pull down, pull up. That's going to flare your elk hair. Now we're going to wrap down. Keep a hold of the elk hair in your other hand. Don't let go of it. You're going to want to wrap down back to the bend of the hook. So keep all this in your hand and wrap all the way down. A couple more wraps to secure it nice and tight. And then just flatten all the middle section there. Just flatten it all out. Now you can let go. So you're going to have this big clump in the back, and you got your first wing right there. You can kind of play with it to where you like. You just don't want a lot of the hair to roll underneath the hook. Well, if you have a few hairs under there, that's not a big deal. As long as you can see the hook eye. And that's why we start a little bit like a hook length behind, or an eye length behind the eye. So we give you some room. So what you're going to do with this back clump here is you don't need all of that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut out half of it. So just kind of estimate, eyeball it, and cut out about half of that hair. And then you're just going to trim that down. Kind of flatten it out a little bit. You want it pretty low there, so because you're going to fold this over like that. That's going to be at the end, but you just want to make sure the length is correct, and you're going to be able to reach the front of the fly. We're going to whip finish our thread off here, because what we're going to do for the body, the underbody, is we're going to use a product called Nymph-It. It's from Upavon Fly Fishing. This comes in a lot of different colors, and this is the copper color, the metallic copper. I really love this stuff. You can use Tencel, you can use floss, you can use dubbing. It doesn't really matter what you use for the underbody. We're just going to wrap that in. We're just going to build a small body. Doesn't have to be tapered, but you don't want it too thick. Kind of eyeball it there. And then what we'll do here, once we get this wrapped in, we're just going to whip finish it back off. So once you get that whip finished off and cut, I'm going to add Solarez BoneDry to this. You don't have to use any UV if you don't have any, but I like to add it for just a little bit of extra durability and a little shine. Make sure all the hairs look okay. If you got any, you want a lot of the long hairs. You don't want the short hair. So when you're cleaning out your deer hair or your elk hair, just make sure you get all the short fibers out. So we're just going to apply a little bit of bone dry here. Just make sure it's fully coated, top and bottom. And we're going to hit it with our UV light and cure that nice and hard. Perfect. Alrighty, now we're going to tie back in our thread. It's the 12-aught brown nano silk. Cut that away, and we're going to put a little bit of dubbing here at the thorax as a little base to hold the hair, our next lump of hair. So this is the Upavon hollow dub. This is in cinnamon. We don't want a whole lot here, just a little bit to hold this hair. So we get another clump of elk hair. We're going to tie that in elk hair caddis style. Just a couple wraps, pull up, and it flares the hair. Just put a couple wraps in front there to keep it secure. And you're going to cut away all that extra hair. Sorry, I'm all hands there. You just want to trim this down. Take your time. Try not to cut the front wing off. I've done that before. And then just kind of get it really, really low and flush. And what we're going to do is we want to spread out that wing to each side. So you're just going to have to work this. I use my bodkin here to separate the wing. And just play with it. And you're going to pull this back up. And just keep playing with it. It just takes a while sometimes. So just go slow, be patient, and just make sure you want to get it right the first tie-in. Again, this is why you want all those long hairs from the elk hair. If you get too short, you're not going to be able to go all the way up to that point of tie-in. So just kind of pull the wings back, and you're just going to tie that in. Just a couple wraps. Secure it down, and now you got your back. You're just going to trim this extra out. Just be careful that you don't cut any of the wings off. Just trim off any stray hairs that you see that are kind of floating around out there. You just want to trim this kind of flush. We're going to do one more little rope of dubbing over this. And then whip finish basically, and we're pretty much done. At this point, you just make sure the wings are to length and everything looks proportionate and straight. Nice and buggy. There we go. And then the last little bit of dubbing here. And the same dubbing we used before, the Upavon hollow dub and cinnamon. Just a touch of dubbing on there. You don't want this too thick. You just want enough to cover the little lump and then underneath there. All right, once you get it there, we're just going to whip finish. This is probably one of the hardest parts. You can whip finish right here, but if I find that if I whip finish above the wing, it compresses it too much, so I go underneath the wing. You just pull that back and just try to slide it right over the hook eye. 3 to 5 turn whip finish should be fine. Whip finish it off. You might trap a few fibers, just cut those out. It's not a big deal. And there you go. You can add a little head cement, UV anywhere, anything to secure the thread wraps if you want to. But yeah, there you go. That's the Screaming Banshee. I think this is a Charlie Craven pattern. And there you go. That's it. The Screaming Banshee. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.